You're watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by these fine sponsors.
Grand Lake Roofing, Fowler's TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, ROG Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
You were renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Shop Auto Sales, Back House at the Square, TSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Company, Larry's Pizzeria, DFW Post 9289, and Miller Funeral Home.
Welcome, Rider Nation, to another edition of Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. Mark, thanks for being here.
It's always a pleasure to be here, Doug.
Well, as I mentioned in the Bo Fry show, Bo was looking down the depth chart, and here I am like fifth or sixth string stepping in because who knows where Zach is and who knows where Joe is.
Well, we know where Joe is, but we don't know exactly where Jack is, or Zach is, right?
So here I am leading Rules of the Game, and hopefully we have a very effective and productive show as me being the substitute. So a couple things before we get into the clips from Friday night's Rough Rider victory over the Shawnee Indians. And by the way, thanks so much for stepping into
it was a pleasure. I had a lot
press
of fun.
box.
It's been a long time since I've been behind the microphone, so to speak, in the press box.
Yeah. So I watched from Connecticut, and it sounded like you and Zach were having fun.
We did have a good time, and heck, we even had a visitor or a listener or watcher from over in Italy. One of the folks that works for me actually is over in Italy, and they were like, "Hey, yeah, you're coming
I
through
saw
really good
that
over
in
here."
the chat,
So,
yeah. And then Joe through, the Israel, and
worldwide.
we've got people all over the place. So yeah, again, thank you for stepping in for Joe. But a couple things that I wanted to talk about coming out of this game before we actually get into the clips. The first one's going to be planes.
Yes.
Not airplanes.
Not airplanes.
But planes of the field. And first let's talk the goal line, which we've done in previous shows.
Yes,
the nose of the ball and the plane of that goal line. The very first, from green to white, that nose of the ball hits that plane, what happens?
You think of the plane of the goal line, and goal line is going to be 4 inches wide. Think of it as a plane of glass right at the front divides the goal line between the field of play. Think of that as a plate of glass that goes all the way across the field. Ball touches that, ball breaks that, it's a touchdown. Now that's different from the sideline. There really are no planes in the sideline.
Which there was a key play that led to this question being asked.
Key play in the game for the Riders Friday night. Ball was pooched, and we probably have a clip of it later on. So,
we will show it later on.
But,
yep.
The sideline there's no such thing as a plane. To be out of bounds there, you have to touch the sideline. You're out. You can reach across the sideline if you're still inbound, touching inbounds, bat a ball. What you can't do is if you're a player, if you touch a non-player that's standing out of bounds, then you are considered out of bounds at that point. I mean, even though you didn't step out of bounds, that's why the rules say that players, coaches have to stay back, because if you touch a non-player, then you are out of bounds, so to speak. If I'm the official and I'm standing out of bounds and you touch me, that's not the case.
Because you're part of the field.
Part of the field, so to speak. So a little bit of difference there. So is that a really plain issue? No, that's just people not being where they're supposed to be issue.
So if I have a really long wingspan and the situation of this pooch kick that crossed over that plane, it appeared from the video, I could stand inbounds.
Yep.
And just, because it's hit the field, it's bounced across that plane, scoop it up.
Yep.
I can do that.
You can, because it's not out of bounds until the ball touches something, the ground or a non-player or something foreign to the field, playing surface, so to speak, that makes it out of bounds.
In that same instance, it bounces, crosses that plane. If I leap from inbounds, my body carries me out of bounds, but I'm in the air, touch that ball and tap it to my teammate.
You're still considered in bounds at that point until you touch out of bounds. So it's no different than maybe an errant forward pass being tossed at the sideline and a receiver goes up or a defender goes up and bats it, so to speak. It's like the ball it's not out of bounds at that point, and it's fair game. So yeah, we're good. So we'll see that here coming up.
Okay. And then the other question that we had that evolved out of the game sideline tackles.
Yes.
And Mark, this is funny because when we first started talking about doing this show 4 or 5 years ago, we met at Generations, and I think I was using salt and pepper shakers to go over this very question.
We were talking about that. Yes.
What constitutes being ruled, you're tackled, you're still in bounds, but you fall out of bounds?
Right.
And what happens to the clock in that situation versus totally you're tackled out of bounds? How do they determine that?
Yeah, it's a matter of forward progress. Where is the forward progress stopped? And when you're dealing with forward progress and the sideline, which would be out of bounds, if forward progress is stopped, and let's say a runner is driven sideways or backwards out of bounds, then the clock, they tell us the game clock is to continue to run. Obviously, unless you've gained a first down, you're going to stop it and you're going to reset the chains and go on. But assuming it's 2nd and 8 and you gain 3 yards and you're hit and you're driven sideways or backwards, where your forward progress was maybe at the 5 and we needed to get to the 8, but we got to the 5, all right, but we're driven backwards, the game clock is going to run. Now, if I'm running back and I come up to the 5 and I get hit and I'm driven forward for an extra maybe half yard or whatever, driven forward out of bounds, the clock will stop.
Okay.
At that point. We had a question from a viewer. They were very astute, and they said, look, what's the difference? Because it looked like a couple times in the game that the crew, they stopped it and then they wound it back up again when it looked like the runner was driven forward or just ran out of bounds on his own. And to be honest with you, I noticed that too. And we talked about that a little bit, Zach and I did. So is it a fine line? It can be. In a game that's out of hand, is it such a big deal? No, because you have the running clock. Clock's not going to stop anyway. But on a game that might be tight or it's just starting out, those extra seconds can mean a lot at the end of a half.
Is that the wings judgment?
Normally it is because they're right there and they're going to make that call. However, anyone on the field that sees the play can say, look, that guy was hit and driven backwards out of bounds. The clock should still be running. Or no, he was hit. And he was going forward, so the clock should stay dead. And there was a couple times during the game where I thought even a runner went out of bounds on his own forward, and they stopped it to reset the chains for a first down, but then they started again. Well, the very act of the runner going out of bounds on his own keeps the game clock dead in that situation. So it's not like college or pro where you're just gonna now with the rule changes keep that stuff running. I mean, and later on in the game, I didn't notice anything like that, but early on, I did. So there is a fine line there. It can be, or you're just not aware of what whether it's backwards, forwards, or what. Complicated, I know, but
yes.
But for this fan to send me the question, and go, hey, I noticed this.
Good question.
It can be kind of glaring at times.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it really doesn't make a difference in the first quarter, but it might at the end of the half where you need the time. So, time is time.
All right. Well, maybe next time this pops up, we'll get the salt and pepper shakers out and do a visual
we'll get the
that way.
Telestrator out and
We need to do that. All righty, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back to you with clips from Friday night's game and have Mark review what he sees.
You're watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by these fine sponsors.
Grand Lake Roofing, Ballard TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, ROG Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
You were renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Shop Auto Sales, Stack House at the Square, JSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Company, Larry's Pizzeria, DFW Post 9289, and Miller Funeral Home.
All righty, thank you to our fine sponsors for bringing Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm Doug Spencer alongside Mark Cisco. Mark, let's talk a little bit about just some general mechanic or refereeing questions. And here on the far wing, I think he has his right hand extended, and this wing has both hands
Yeah, you're
forward.
You're talking about they're signaling to one another that they have a balanced line on either side of the center. That signal came into play 15 years ago when Dr. Bruce Maurer took over as director of fish aid and development for football, brought the new signals in to help people count, make sure we had the right number of players, and it forces the wing guys, I call them the line judge and the head linesman, wing guys, to count and signal to one another that, yeah, we have a balanced line, or at least I have 3 on my side and you got that. You know, sometimes you'll see the wing guys hold up 2 fingers or 4.
And I think that might be the next clip, yeah.
To indicate maybe we got an unbalanced line.
So the question that I had out of that is, with telecommunications, wearing the headsets, do they still do the signals, the old school signals?
They're required to do the signals.
Okay.
And when you're snapping the ball, this crew did not use radios. My crew never used radios. There are a lot of them that do. It takes away. They're going to have to flip a switch and tell the other guy, yeah, I've got it, or whatever. And to me, it's just too much talking, because when they come to the line like that, the officials are going through what they call a pre-snap checklist, and it's running through their head.
We've got 2 going up.
2 for St. Mary's, and the headlines would have had 4, so that with the center makes 7. So should not have 4. Now, the prohibition now, or the rule says, look, you can't have any more than 4 in the backfield. Well, some would say, well, why not just count the backs? Fine, because the referee is counting and an umpire is counting the offensive line in total. We got 11, we got 4 in the backfield, and here we have 4. We got the full house backfield, and the quarterback is considered in, so you're fine. But what that doesn't do is say, look, maybe we got a tight end that's covered up, which can happen in an unbalanced line. And St. Mary's does that quite a bit. And
then on that clip right there was I think a little bit of a arm wave right there.
He was probably telling that he may have had 4 out there, because they sometimes stick it out there and
that
wave it
makes
a little
sense
bit
now.
before, so he sees there's something odd going on. So,
okay.
Yep, a little communication between the officials there.
And then the last question really doesn't pertain to a clip at all, but if you were watching those clips, the officials are all wearing shorts. Is there obviously no prohibition to officials wearing shorts, and they could wear it all season if they want?
There is no prohibition to wearing shorts. You can still do that, and there are crews around the state that do that. There are crews that will wear them until they just obviously can't wear them anymore. Uh-huh. There are some that try to, in the past, would wear long sleeve shirts, the striped shirts, and shorts, because, you can get away with that depending on games. But now the prohibition is, look, if you're going to wear long sleeves, you're going to wear your pants, because you're going to wear the long pants now. So it's just a uniform type situation. I happen to know this crew very well, and they will wear shorts until they just absolutely can't.
Gotcha.
So myself, I prefer the long black striped pants. Heck, I even like the knickers that we used to wear. The white ones.
Right.
But the black ones do look very, very well.
And one white hat. What happens if that hat gets forgotten?
Then I guess he's going to have to borrow one from another guy, or go hatless, so to speak. So
does there have to be the white hat on the field?
Not necessarily. I mean, the white hat just designates that hey, I'm the referee. Look for me. I'm going to be the signal guy. Somebody's got to be in charge. I was in a situation several years ago where a playoff crew came to New Bremen, and the referee in that crew forgot his hat.
I bet somebody got a phone call.
Well, I would happen to be at the game. I was the official's host, so I'm like, give me 5 minutes, I'll be back. And for him, it was a little tight, but he got by. And after the game, well, I told him, I said, I'll rent it to you. But after the game, he handed it back, and I'm like, you know what, just keep it. I've got others. And he sent me one that was a new one, which was the thing to do. So, yeah, it happens once in a while.
Yep. I know it happened to me. All righty, continuing on with clips here. You can watch the wingman on the Rough Rider side.
Oh, he's out of position. Yeah.
Can the referee umpire blow the whistle until they are in position?
Yes, that can happen. But once the ball's down, once the umpire puts the ball down, that tells the teams, hey, the ball's ready for play. And if that official has caught, talking to the coach or whatever, he should have blown the whistle before the play got started and said, wait a minute, I'm not where I need to be for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Now, maybe, and it's clear at the bottom of the screen here that he is talking to the coach.
Yep.
And St. Mary's, in their normal fashion, gets to the line of scrimmage quick, and they snap the ball, and away they go. So he could have blown the whistle and said, wait, till I'm done with this conversation, and basically reset, and we'll go from there. As it was, nobody noticed. He didn't say anything. St. Mary's ran the football. Not the cleanest of mechanics there, for sure.
All right, he just was wondering what should have happened there. All right, looks like possibly a hold on this kickoff once they get it kicked off here.
Yeah, St. Mary's has got an unusual formation. Some of the kids are faster than others, so to speak, and they want a running start, and away we go.
Catches it at the 9. So right on the right side of the screen there. Let's run that back. Is this just good, clean blocking, or we getting wrapped around? Right there on the 22, they're wrestling. And
that went on for a while, and you would have to see the start of that. Basically, they tell us, look, if you're going to call hold or whatever, you need to see the start of the play. You need to see the start of the foul, so to speak, to call something like that. And by the time anybody looked up, and the referee's got to look at it, Rusty's got to look at it coming up. They deemed it, he was in position, and now the runner's gone, and there's no advantage gained. And even if there was a hold at the end of it, you're probably going to ignore that and move on, because the clean block started out and blocked the kid out of the way, and we just move on.
Speaking of apparel, what is the rule on jerseys needing to be tucked in or not needing to be tucked in?
Jerseys should be tucked in.
Is it an infraction that can be penalized?
Technically,
so I think it's maybe the right guard and tackle.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, in theory they're supposed to be tucked in. Is that one of those apparel rules that officials tend to go, no, we're not going to send him out for that? I mean, now if it was down to his knees and it was noticeable, that's one thing.
Okay.
Right. But something like that, especially with linemen, and me being a lineman, I can say that I never would have called that on a lineman in the heat of the game. I might have said something to him as they ran off, hey, try to tuck it in next time.
Sure.
Okay, fine, whatever. Is it in the rule book? Yes. Should it be enforced? Yes. Does it mean that they would be sent out? Yes. But in the grand scheme of things, neither coach wants that called.
Right.
And
right.
Some of those rules were put in play because of things that happen in other states. And that happened to be one of them. And sometimes they get those jerseys that are down to their knees, and that's kind of dangerous. Get it? So, yes, should they be ticked on? Sure. Should they be tight? Sure they should, but they aren't always.
It is in the rule book, and
it is.
Subject to interpretation of the heat of the game, yeah.
Yes. Now, coach is over there screaming and hollering that he wants it called. Well, okay, fine, we'll do that, but be careful what you ask for, because it could come back to haunt you. So.
All righty. Thank you for that explanation.
Personal foul maybe in this place somewhere, possibly.
Was that a blind? Oh, there comes the, yep.
See,
was that a good block, or was that a blindside hit?
I think they called that a block in the back, if I remember right, and I was at the game, so. Yeah, but the other thing is it really, because if he hits him from the side, is it really a block in the back? You could say possibly that now we had 2 flags on the play.
So is he defenseless?
Yeah, but that part of the rule is, it wasn't forceful. He knocked him down, sure, but it wasn't forceful.
Okay.
I mean, he might have hit him with his hands, which took away the defenseless part of it. They called block in the back here. Seeing it on film, and again, I'm not on the field. It looks different on film. Is it or is it not? I don't know.
Then let's watch the end of the play. Okay, so he was driven out sideways.
Driven out sideways. So in theory.
But we have a penalty.
Let's see. Can we see that again? Let's see if the engineer will run that back for us here. I just want to see. So we got to get to about the 8. And did he get there?
Nope.
Doesn't look like it. We stopped the clock, but I think that was one of those plays where they started the clock up again, which if you're going to stop the clock like that, then you're going to keep it stopped, right?
But we had the penalty.
But we had the foul, so we're going to stop it there. So,
okay.
Then a lot of things happen in the play. So
moving on, field goal.
Live ball.
All right, it's blocked by Kevin Perry, and it's off to the races then.
Off to the races. It is. And boom, he gets pushed out about the 28, 27-yard line. Good job by the St. Mary's defense there. And it is a live ball. I mean, and it was picked up. The defensive team can pick it up anywhere on the field and go with it. And if the offensive team had picked it up, and it was still behind the line of scrimmage, they could go with it as well.
Excellent job by St. Mary's there. Last year versus Defiance, they actually ran it back for a touchdown.
Little flinch there by the
But he
nose guard.
didn't cross that plane.
He must have not crossed the plane, the nose of the football. And I'm sure St. Mary's wanted it, but head linesman standing right there looking at it.
So he can move.
Did he not? I mean, was it enough? Maybe. But everybody's back. Nobody else moves, whatever. And it's like, okay, we're going to pass on that one. That's one of those, did he just do that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And now I'm more in tune to it. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Just wanted to take a look there. And I think here's our most exciting play of the game, and it's what we were talking about with Plains at the beginning of our broadcast. Rush is getting ready to kick, and this is going to be down the sideline, Mark, and all of a sudden you're going to see Steinberg run into the play
and keep going
and tightrope that line. Now there you see the referee believing that it was
the official said somebody's out of bounds here, and I think we have a different angle here, and that shows, all right, here they come, and the receivers just get away, and this is great play. The feet are still in bounds, still in bounds, still in bounds, still in bounds. He gets it. He's still in bounds and recovers the football. Now, on a kickoff, the kicking team cannot advance the kick because it was never possessed by the receiving team, but they can recover it and keep it at the spot of recovery. This was a great play by the St. Mary's special teams right here. And, in all fairness to the official, they got together.
They go.
And talked it through and said, yep, did he step out of bounds? Now think about it. No, he did not. And the coaches are adamant because they're standing right there. And so they're giving all the help that the official needs. But the officials did get together and made the right call.
Give us that sideline view one more time. And the left foot is in. The right foot crosses the plane, Mark, when he catches it. And
the ball looks to be across the plane as well. Boom, boom.
So that foot comes over the white line, but it doesn't matter because it's not touching.
He's not touching. So that's what Steve might have saw, is it just flowed across the top of there. And even if he did step right there, he's got the ball now.
And just one?
And he's in, just one. He's fine. And if he touched with the right foot there, possession is already gained. So when Steve replayed it in his mind, he went, you know what? I think I might want to recant here, which is great officiating. I mean, things happen really fast on the field, and he was able to replay it in his mind and come up with the right call.
And just want to give a shout out to Justin Chisholm, who was our field camera operator that captured that better than it could have ever been captured.
Better than
we may need to send that to ESPN for an ESPY award right there. All righty, we're moving on to the next play.
Got a man in motion here, possibly. Everybody's set. He comes in motion, still in motion.
And that's what I want to talk about. Run that back so he can keep his feet moving once he sets.
Once he's not moving either direction. And in theory, he is still in motion at that point.
Okay.
Now, did he go forward? Was he going forward at the snap? Yeah, possibly, if we could take a look at that again. And if that was the case, and if they said, look, he was moving forward at the snap, that would be illegal motion. Say he kind of was. But it was enough to draw the interest of the officials to say, you know what, it's not going to be too obvious for me for that, so I'm going to leave that be. And what might have happened is the official might have went back to the coach and said, hey, you might want to talk to him about that, because he does it again, we're going to have to do something about it. And that goes on quite a bit in a football game sometimes.
Okay. Well, thanks for the clarification there. And I think we want to see.
I think we had a personal foul here, did we not? I don't know for sure, or possibly, I don't know.
I'm not real sure what that one was.
Then we're going to look
Okay.
down here at the bottom.
Oh.
Well, they kind
Little WWE action going on right down in the
They kind of
corner.
double teamed the DB out there. And,
Yes.
depending on when the whistle was blown, I mean, these kids are, yes, should they know when the play is over? By rule, yes. It's
So look down in the bottom
responsibility,
corner.
But I don't have a whistle. It's like, you know what, whistle, and he's going down at the, double team, you're going to get blocked.
Yep.
So nothing wrong there. Move on, play football.
All righty. Okay, I think they get called for running into the kicker here. Is that what the call? Did you see the penalty flag come in?
I saw the flag come in, but let's just see, because that wouldn't be enough to draw a foul there. Now let's look at the center. Let's look at the center once, if we can tell what happens to him.
Possibly he
Because
gets
that
touched.
could be a roughing on the snapper, so to speak, and technically he's termed a snapper, not the center. Or we have a foul for
Jumping.
for hurdling, which is possible.
Play that one more time.
I don't think that they called that.
I think we did kick.
We did, but I don't know. I think they called personal foul, which,
Yeah.
Not sure. I was thinking maybe the center got rough, but I don't think they're over directly.
Is
over
it the guy
top of him,
hurdling?
because this could be the guy coming here. Yeah, he
Yeah.
brings the knee forward, and that's probably what the call was. And yeah, personal foul. That's personal foul, hurdling, and it's going to go on the kickoff. St. Mary's going to take it on the kickoff.
All righty. Thanks to Logan for catching exactly what was going on there, and Mark's astute observation of the rule book. All right, so I've got this labeled. Do we have any fouls going on here? So let's, because it was such a long play.
It was a long, drawn-out
And then
play
right
there.
at the end.
Right at the end. Now, there's a couple people.
So any holds?
tripped. I don't see any holds there. I don't see anything that's a blind side. I don't see ineligibles downfield. Didn't matter because he didn't throw the football. Anyway, the line collapses. They're getting away from him.
This is a long play. That's a
fine
good
there.
block there.
And well, it looks worse than it is. They may have tripped over the chains right there, truthfully. I think the St. Mary's kid tripped over the
Okay, let's watch the tail end again.
the box. And I think that the quarterback runs out of bounds there. Could it have been?
He maybe
Yeah.
tackled him outside.
Yeah, you could, because I think they wanted it over there because he probably was out of bounds and got taken to the ground.
Yeah.
And
There's a coach that's trying to help the
trying to help the
occasion out.
officials, and, yeah, I don't think he got the
Okay.
call there, but it's possible. I could have supported the call.
Okay.
We have something going on here.
Timing. That's bang bang. You've
That's
got
bang,
two
bang.
officials.
That's bang bang. And as soon as the ball is thrown, the umpire is supposed to look. He was not quick enough to get around, and wouldn't have been because that play is right next to him. The back judge has probably got the best look. I think that was just good defense by St. Mary's, and it was a bang bang play. And you're not going to get both kids going for the football. Yep, good no call by the crew.
All righty. Taking a look at this play, long snap. When is the play actually dead? Is it by whistle?
Nope.
And can it be, with the extracurricular there, if the play's dead and there is no whistle, can they still get a personal
Sure.
foul because
The
of
whistle
extra?
supposedly never kills the play. The play kills itself. It's when forward progress is stopped, and the official would rule when that would be. So this is kind of
About the 45.
So that's probably dead right there. He's tripping over another guy. That's not terrible.
Okay.
I think we saw in this game or another game that I was watching where we had a little extracurricular after the whistle, but the whistle never kills the play unless it's an error by the officials. the play's over, and the kids are charged with knowing when the ball is dead. Now, obviously that's tough to do sometimes, but certainly when the whistle's blown, they don't want to see anything extra going on.
All righty, Riders in the red zone.
They kill
They
this right
kill
away.
this, so we must have had
Somebody, I believe, was lined up in the neutral zone, and I think it was St. Mary's that called for this, because
or was it Shawnee, number 74? Let's watch him again.
could be, because they may have lined up in the neutral
On that
zone.
left side, and he jumps
He's
a little bit.
He jumps into it. Yep, he jumps in across the neutral zone, so that's an encroachment situation there. Yep.
It's interesting when we've got 22 players to watch, and that's why they break down the referees of you're watching this segment of the play and what you have to worry about.
We're killing that. And that
Another encroachment.
I'm thinking it might have been on the, well, no, it's not on the receiver out there. St. Mary's maybe lined up. Yes, this is a situation where I think one of the defensive tackles on the left side was lined up, or the guard right there, second from the left, lined up over the football. And quite honestly, this is what draws. And the officials are going to give him a chance to get out of there. And they're probably trying to help. Hey, get out of there, mm-hmm. And it didn't happen, so then you got to flag it.
And this is the clip where it coincides with your viewer question of the clock continuing. Where is he? Okay, so he went sideways, and you see the official winding the clock.
Is fine. That's not a problem there at all. And he's short of the first down, so they're driven him sideways. I totally agree with that. That's a great call right there. And people say, well, it's not a big deal. Well, it is if it's fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. It can be a big deal.
And it's hard not knowing the rule book. Hey, he's all the way. He's standing out of bounds, but the clock is being wound.
Right.
Why?
And fans
that makes sense.
Don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And coaches,
sideways or backwards.
Sometimes coaches don't understand. They want the kid to go out of bounds. Sometimes the players just don't cooperate. Yep.
I mentioned just a little bit ago of each referee having a segment of the game to watch.
Yes.
Quite honestly, you've done how many games, but you've really never seen them in totality, would be my guess, because you're watching just kind of a portion.
You got that right, yes. And it's a lonely feeling when all of a sudden you look up after a pass is thrown and the defensive guy is running past you the other way, and you're going, oh no, because you just don't see it.
Right.
So in this play, this shot here, the referee he's got to make sure the snap comes off fine. He's got the kicker and the holder, all right, and make sure that it's placed, and for anything that comes close, that's his spot. So he should have no idea whether whether the kick was good or not, and the wing guys are looking at these backs that are on the end of the line. They're in the backfield technically. They're looking for holds or something along those lines. And the two guys under the post, they're just not standing there looking pretty. Mm-hmm. They're looking for pull and shoot by the defense and roughing the center and all that stuff. So we each have a little piece of the pie. And yeah, you're right. I've for the first time in 40 years, I'm sitting there watching the game in totality from up above. And
I imagine a lot of people said, do you remember that particular play? Well,
no.
A fragment of it.
A piece of it, and if they're doing their jobs, that's what will happen. They'll never see, the only person that might see a lot of it is the back judge, because he's got the whole field in front of him. Yes, he's got certain keys that he keys on, but he's going to see more than anybody else.
Exactly. And I think I've got a question about the back judge coming up here. So this is an extension of what we were just talking about. What does the white hat see here? What was I thinking?
So the issue that I had with this play is, number one, we possibly have a hold in the backfield back here. Possibly. And again, I'm not standing there, and if you have to run it back 14 times, you'll never, you can't overrule the judgment on the field, that's for sure. So does he have a hold of him? Maybe. It looks like it, especially right there.
Yep.
But I don't see the referee chasing or following the ball carrier at some point. In fact, he didn't even get close to the middle of the field, which I have an issue with. But, he had other things to deal with. So the umpire's standing there to the right of the screen. He's going to take one step, and he's looking for stuff in the middle. Any holds, any bad blocks or anything along those lines. And then the rest of the field is taken up with the downfield guys and the back judge. So, that's what a lot of stuff going on. There's five or six of us. There's 22 of them.
And I think also I was thinking definitely that hold, but that play is
stretched way out.
And so if the ball is actually going to the left and the hold is to the right,
then you have a question of, does it matter? Is there an advantage gain? Now, normally those things will start earlier than what you finally say, yeah, that's a hold. They'll start earlier than that. So you got to keep that in mind. But did it matter in this situation? Really didn't, because we got an incomplete pass and we got go to the next down and away we go. So there are worse things to be seen.
All right, and here is the back judge. And obviously the back judge needs to be at the very back of the play, would be my assumption, is we're going to see him come in. So the play's taken about on the 48, and he's standing on the 50. So he always has to be on the backside of that play.
His initial positioning is 20 yards from the football in most situations. Now, we get down in the red zone. Now that spacing is going to change a little bit depending on where we're at inside the 20. But normally, if we've got a big field in front of us, he's going to be 20 yards deeper than the football. And his job is to not get beat by the receivers. Now, doesn't always happen, because these kids can run, 4.4, 4.5, or whatever, 40 yards. And I can guarantee you there are very few officials working today in Ohio that can run that fast.
Yep.
So it's no sin to get the runner pass you by with the football. It is a sin not to have the play in front of you and to be stopped to see the action before you make a decision on the play. Yes.
Okay.
Now, Charlie did a nice job right there. He was right there. Didn't have to move. It ended up right where he was. I mean, great positioning on his part.
Yep, absolutely. And to the last clip of the contest.
Oh, it's a scramble.
As a live ball, that quarterback doesn't warrant any protection at that point in time.
He's not. He doesn't become a passer until he lets go of the football on a forward pass situation. So otherwise, he's treated like any other player, like a running back or wherever. It's like, I have to go back here and get on it. I would have, the referee should have been back, should have started backpedaling and been at the goal line or close to it to witness this action. So he had it all in front of him so he could be stopped. He was a little late getting there. But again, and I'm not making excuses, we're getting older in this game. And if anybody has had his inkling out there to want to join our ranks, please do so.
Yeah, I think it was interesting a couple years ago where you indicated the age of the players never change.
The age of the players never change. That's
the
right.
age of the referees
tend to get older each year.
Yep.
Yes. And the average age of football officials continues to climb.
Yep.
So there you go.
All righty. Well, Mark, we exhausted a bevy of clips from that contest. We went from hand signals of officials to a great conversation from a very interesting sideline kickoff that ended up
rules and mechanics all in one shot. Can't do any better than that.
It was a spectacular shot by our camera operator, and we've talked a lot. So thank you again for your dedication to rules of the game, and thank you for putting the headset on Friday night. And we'll see if the opportunity exists again for you to
we'll see somebody next
be back
week in
there.
this show, right? Whether you be you or Zach. Is he going to be back or what?
We hope that Zach will be back. We hope that Joe is back, and things get back to normal around here at Rider Nation Station. All righty, for Mark Cisco, I'm Doug Spencer. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Thank you for watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by all of these fine sponsors.
Grand Lake Roofing, Ballard TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Land, ROG Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
You were renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Shop Auto Sales, Tap House at the Square, TSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Compton, Mary's Pizzeria, EFW Post 1989, and Miller Funeral.